Y'all, when I say I almost didn't make it for this episode, I was feeling so good and so enthusiastic yesterday. And I woke up this morning feeling like absolute crap. The version of me yesterday was like, yay, I can do this. And then my body was like, okay, girl, here's some food poisoning. And I'm like, is it really food poisoning or is it upper limiting? And for those of you who know, you know. But we're here and I'm grateful. I'm going to try to have, the right energy. And I'm really excited because I feel like the first video was received well. I saw some of the comments. Some of you are kind of in the same season. Some of you are looking for content like this that's not just about being an expert or being an authority. So I really love that whoever it's speaking to, that you all are watching and following, because that's just kind of the vibe that I'm on. I think I've been trying to appease what my audience wants, and I really just think that I'm going to have to rebuild an audience from scratch. I very much so still want to be in the online space, but more so from a community building standpoint. I love, love, love building community. It's something that I really enjoy. I think I cultivate communities well. So I'm just excited to have this community of people who are in the messy middle, still kind of figuring out, does it make sense to do, coaching and stuff on that end, but it will all come together. So I've just been kind of thinking about what else do I need to get clear on in this messy middle. And what's been true for me is that I just have not felt as disciplined in this season. And it's because I've been kind of just forcing myself to do things that I'm not excited about. I realized that I spent a lot of time scrolling, but I really believe that my time scrolling is because I'm looking for answers. I'm searching for answers. I'm seeing what everybody else is doing. Maybe somebody else's content will inspire me. And it's like, girl, you don't have to scroll for 3 hours to be inspired. You actually need to sit with yourself. You actually need to sit with God and get your downloads that way. So while there's definitely some inspiring content, my favorite content online is like the day in the life content. I love seeing people's routines. I love seeing the edits of it. But I need to spend more time documenting my life, because that's what I genuinely enjoy doing, than watching other people's content. But when I was thinking about the discipline, one, this is an example of just building the discipline muscle. I had text my friend Danny and I was like, girl, I'm really trying to decide if I should just spend the rest of the day resting or if I should try to pull myself together and do a video or two. And she was like, I really think that, part of building this discipline muscle means try to pull yourself together and show up, even if it's just a 5-minute video. So even though it was really challenging, I had to do my hair and makeup from bed because standing up for longer than 15 seconds just feels like so exhausting. So I'm really looking forward to being back to 100% by tonight or tomorrow. But when I think about discipline and I think about building the muscle, I think about the days where I'm like, okay, you showed up when you didn't feel like it. Those are the moments that you build discipline. And of course, so many of us rely on motivation. Yesterday, I was heavily motivated. I had brunch with the girls and they were pouring into me and my makeup was already done. So there was less friction to come back to my place and record. Today, your girl was down and out. I just need more time in this bed. But I'm like, we got to make it work. We got to make it work. Even if you can't stand up to curl your hair, even if you can't stand up to do your makeup, you're going to sit in this bed. And I probably spent a good 8 hours today laying in bed trying to get my energy back and eating fruit and drinking water so I could rehydrate. But after that, it was like, you got to crawl to that finish line some days. And even last week, I had posted on my stories, or a few weeks ago, I was going for my morning walk because I try to get, my 45 minutes of walking or try to get my steps in. And that morning, I kind of just woke up with an attitude. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I did it. And that's, again, building that discipline muscle. So I really challenge you to think about some areas where you don't feel as disciplined and you really just need to tap into that discipline muscle. When I kind of look at the stages of discipline, And I'm doing something in my community right now called Momentum 100, where we are working on building our discipline. But I look at it in three different stages. I look at it as the motivational phase, right? Like the energy that I was on yesterday. You're hype, you're feeling confident, you feel really good. There's no friction to do it because you're already in the mental space of like, this is going to be so fun. And that's the first phase. But also in that phase, what you rely heavily on is it being easy, it being fun, and having accountability. Like if you need accountability in the season, that's fine to admit. If your discipline right now is reliant on accountability, girl, get the accountability that you need. I think some of us want a trophy for doing things by ourselves. When I hosted my Q4 planning workshop, somebody was asking me about, what's the difference between having a coach and not having a coach? And I'm like, I think some people want credit for doing it on their own, and I don't know why. You can either say, I got there faster with the support of a coach and I'm excited to have these results faster. Or you could say, I eventually got there. I wasted a lot of time, probably wasted a lot of money, but I did it on my own. And so I really recommend not over prioritizing doing it on your own and being isolated. If there are some days where you can't rely on anybody, cool, do what you have to do. But the whole point of community and having a village is to be able to rely on people and to be able to lean on people. So that motivational phase, girl, get yourself some accountability. Even if it's just a stranger off the internet, a stranger in a Facebook group, being inside of, a community, whatever it is. Sometimes we pay for our accountability partners. We join memberships, we join coaching programs, but do what you got to do because it's definitely an investment. Now, once you get past this motivational phase and you're not as excited anymore, we move into the phase of what I call the momentum phase. And this is the phase where you are going to have to show up on the days that you're not excited. And this is where you have to be very intentional about your systems. You have to say, okay, what makes it easier for me to get this done? And I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but going to the gym, do you already know what you're wearing? Do you know what gym you're going to? Are you working out with a trainer? What time are you going to the gym? How long are you going for? Do you already know the exercises so when you get there, you're not just lollygagging, okay? So things like that. If you are wanting to eat healthier, are you going to hire a chef? Are you going to cook the food by yourself? Do you already have cooking skills? Do you know how to grocery shop? All of those things. So in this phase, when the motivation dies, this is where systems kick in to help you kind of streamline this and remove the friction. And so this phase is really important. This is where you're noticing like, man, I'm showing up even when I don't feel like it. And in this phase, when you are consistent long enough, that's when you really start to see results. And I really do feel like I'm kind of starting over with a lot of my disciplines. And I'm like, girl, you need accountability right now, or you just need to show up and do it even when you don't have anybody to hold you accountable. So I'm kind of like in between this motivation and momentum phase, I would say, really trying to tap more into the momentum of doing something consistently. And that's why showing up when it's hard matters. I want to build momentum, doing this series. I want to build momentum in figuring out what does Maya want to do next. And I'm not going to be able to answer that question if I'm constantly starting over. I'm not going to be able to answer that question if I'm not showing up and doing the work. So really just show up so you can build momentum and so you can start to see results. That's when it's going to feel good. But then the last phase that I really think we should all be striving for, if it's something that really matters to us, is mastery. I want to be masterful at telling my story. I want to be masterful at building community. I want to be masterful when it comes to my health. I want to be masterful when it comes to taking care of my body. I want to be masterful when it comes to my finances. I want to master these things. And it's not from like mastery from a place of like, okay, now I need to be an authority. It's, I want to show up as my absolute best. When I think about mastering something, it's like, okay, I'm showing up as my absolute best. And I really think the difference between like the mastery phase and the momentum phase is that you're showing up regardless of your feelings, right? So like in the momentum phase, sometimes when it's hard, you're at least getting results. So you're like, okay, I'm getting the results. So it's challenging, but I have my systems. I'm seeing the scale go down. I'm seeing my money go up, whatever. When you're in mastery, you don't think. It's just literally part of your lifestyle. And I feel like when I was in mastery with my fitness journey, it was like I just simply woke up and I pulled my clothes out of the drawer and I walked downstairs to the gym because that's when I was in an apartment, and it made it so much easier to be able to do that. But now that I'm in different environments, it's like, girl, you've got to master getting out your clothes and driving to the gym if you're not living in an apartment with a gym. So my goal really is to, in this season, get clear on what I want to gain mastery in. I really do want to gain a level of mastery in showing up for my community. And again, not from a place of being an authority, but more so, this is second nature to me. This is second nature to me. And I think we should all strive for mastery in who we desire to be, right? I think a lot of times we focus a lot on what do we want to do and what do we want to have. And that's probably what those phases are, right? Like the motivation is, what do I want to have? And the momentum is, what do I have to do? And the mastery is, who do I have to become? And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with the book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Such a good read. And I really should reread that book as part of my personal development curriculum. But he talks a lot about identity, right? And the example that he gave was somebody trying to run a marathon. They went from saying, I run marathons, to saying I am a runner. Or somebody who wanted to quit smoking, that no, I don't quit, versus I'm not a smoker. And so when we get to the place of mastery, we have to embody the person that we desire to be. And so I think identity is so important. And, in this season, I'm just getting clear again on what is my identity. When I think about the most successful, but more so fulfilled version of myself, not success from a standpoint of money and followers, but when I think about the version of me that I desire to be, I think about I'm in the best shape of my life. I have great relationships with my friends and with my family. I'm managing my money really well. And so I look at all of the lessons over the past 5+ years, and it's like, girl, what was the lesson that you needed to learn so you don't make these mistakes in your future? So that's kind of where we're at today, just thinking about that. So one thing I am going to work on that I believe is going to help me get into the momentum phase in terms of, my finances and my relationships and my health and my faith walk is I want to build out my personal curriculum. So what I mean by that is if I'm saying I want to, read more scripture, I need to just pick up the scripture that I need to read for the next 30 days. Making decisions in real time is what's really holding a lot of us back. So this decision making in real time. So it's like, okay, well, why don't you actually plan out the 30 daily scriptures that you want to have? And so I did that, and I put it inside my community. What books do I want to read? One thing I want to do is either listen to a podcast or read a book, whether it's physical or an audiobook. I need to make sure I know the books that I want to read or the YouTube videos that I want to watch. I don't need to be picking the YouTube video or the podcast episode or the book in real time. And so creating this personal development curriculum for myself is going to allow me to be more systemized and consistent and have momentum in what I'm doing. But it also, that gap between wanting to do something, deciding you want to do something, and actually doing it, in between there, guess what we're doing? We're scrolling on social media. We grab our phone, we text somebody, and we forget. And so really what I'm trying to do is eliminate as many decisions in real time. I want to make decisions in advance so I'm not getting distracted by my own self. I don't want to spend my brain power making decisions in real time. I want to know, okay, girl, here's your Bible verse for the day. Here's the book you're reading. Here's the podcast that you're reading. Here's the content that you're posting. check your finances daily. How many sales did you make? What did you do today? I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing every single day. And I call these my daily disciplines. So I hope that today's episode was helpful. This truly is the messy middle because, again, your girl almost didn't make it today. Okay, it was a tough one. But thank you guys so much for the comments and for hanging in there with me. I love the comments and I love that you all are so reflective. I love that you all are so loving. Some of you said, oh, you're praying for me or God's going to do really great things. One of my alumni clients, she's a therapist. So she asked the question, does Maya know the difference between like who she actually is versus, you know, the brand that she's created? And I definitely do. I love the version of me that's not just the brand. And I think that's why I love my friends and family so much, because I just get to show up as myself. Nobody's expecting me to be Maya Elious the brand. I just get to be goofy Maya. I get to be Auntie Maya. I get to be the daughter, the sister, all of that. So it's phenomenal. And I just want to bring more of myself to my community so I don't feel like there is a disconnect. And I didn't necessarily feel like I wasn't being myself in the past, especially if you've been a client, you get to see the rawness. It's just not everybody deserves that version of you. Some people just deserve Maya Elious the brand, and some people get to have the luxury of experiencing more of the authentic version of me. So don't feel like everybody gets to deserve that. And another thing that came to mind before I hop off is I was scrolling, I was on Threads, and I saw somebody say, for the first time in 4 years of being a full-time entrepreneur, that they got a corporate gig or they got a corporate job. And she's like, it's going to be different this time. And I'm like, I love that. I think that's amazing. And I think sometimes we feel like we owe the internet if we go back to a corporate job or if we make a different decision. And you really don't owe the internet anything. Now, you might owe some people in terms of who you have relationships with and agreements with, but you don't owe the world all of your business. You don't owe anybody if you go back to corporate. You don't owe anybody if you want to quit your 9-to-5 and you want to become a full-time entrepreneur. So you need to do what is best for you in this season, as long as it's not harming anybody morally or ethically or legally. You're good to go, girl. So thank y'all for hanging out with me today. My messy middle is going to take a while. I think when you're in the messy middle, the goal isn't to have the answers as soon as possible. It's to kind of like navigate these messy waters and learn about yourself. So I'm excited for us to learn about ourselves together. All right, y'all. Take care.